What's up, YouTube? This is Reaper with a new video and part of our War Short series that we've kind of taken a little break from, but we're going to try to get back to it because by popular demand, a lot of people wanted to see more of the War Shorts. And also some of the things that people wanted were more voiceover over top of those fights so that I'm explaining what I'm doing. So this is the first in optimizing that series and trying to get some more stuff out there. So some of the videos we may re-record with some more voiceovers so people can use them as they understand what we're doing. But in this one, we're talking about a new defense that's starting to pop up that's going to shake the defensive meta, and that is Darkhold using Apocalypse. And what makes this whole entire defense very challenging is it's very hard to come in there. You can't come in there with any of the Tangle Web. You can't come in there with Darkhold. It becomes very tricky because they're also removing the safeguard from you. And then some of the APOC variants, like APOC's Eternals, that you would use against Darkhold because of the safeguard aren't going to work as well because he's going to have that second turn safeguard of application, and then all of a sudden Agatha's stunning your Eternals, and it goes really south really quickly. So we played around with a couple variants of things to try to find ways that we can either get the kill or try to set up for an easier 2-tap for your alliance. So we'll go through a couple of those that we found. Obviously, the other thing to say is even with the rework to Apocalypse, Gamma is still the #1 premier team in War. They will beat everything, including this team as well. We'll highlight that at the end. And we did find Darkhold was another one that did have no issue going through that, although they did go through a round of lives. But they do win this fight if you play it right. But let's go through the first one. This one's already pre-recorded, so we're going to bring it up really quick here. And that is War Dogs. And I wanted to show two different War Dog fights. The first one is one that's a punch down. So this is a much bigger War Dogs. And I understand for viewers that not everyone's built like this. But you just got to kind of look at the scale as it relates to your teams and where you're at, as these stats scale with power levels. If you're bringing in a 1 million going into a 700 version of this, or you have a 1.1 going into a 900 version of this, I think they can still apply. So you just kind of got to pick your fights wisely. Don't put yourself in a position where you're giving your opponent defensive victories and putting your overall alliance behind pace to trying to get that W. So let's go into the first fight. This is the smaller punch down, and surprisingly, it does really well. So we'll take a look at it. I did pre-record this, so I'm going to kind of talk over it. So as we load up into this, War Dogs is a great team. They're still a top 5 War offensive team right now. They have a lot of good applications and a lot of ways to beat them. All right, so first thing we do for here is we're going to go straight at MLS. So we put the disrupt there, and our goal is to drop her down as quick as possible. So we do the ultimate here, and the reason why we're trying to get all the damage in here, so we want to get her low enough so that Nakia will automatically start pinging her. So even if Wong taunts, Nakia is still going to go after her because once she's down, it's easier to break down the team. But then we have another issue in Apocalypse we have to deal with. Now, this is a smaller APOC. He's only I think he's like G14, 15 or something like that. So he doesn't have a huge health pool. And you'll see how fast he drops once Nakia does her ult. But at this point here, I was trying to get some damage on Agatha so Nakia can start pinging her next. And you can see the damage is going through. Hopefully she'll be down here. So now even when Wong taunts, because she's the lowest health. So here comes the ultimate. This was actually kind of funny to watch. Nakia said, hey, Apocalypse ain't doing nothing today. So we got 2 for 1 there. So now we're going in there, getting some damage on Wong. He'll go into stealth here. Oh, no. I'm sorry. He just gets killed. And then we just go and finish off Heartless here as quick as possible. All right, so this will take him down pretty low. Another disrupt on him, and then it's pretty much GG. I'll fast forward a little bit so we can get to the other variation. So we go to a different one that's much bigger. So this one's 1.4 and 1.3 going to 1.4. So it's about a 70k punch up at base with no war buffs. Again, I do caution to pay attention to the war buffs because they do change the outcome of the fights. So if just because it works in practice does not mean it's going to work with the war buffs. So you got to, again, pick your fights wisely. I recommend you practice these fights and understand what your team's reach is and then take smart fights. So once again, we're going straight into MLF. Our goal is to take her out as quick as possible. We get pretty good damage there. So we're really trying to bring her down quickly so she's not a threat. Boye with the there. Now we got her down pretty low, so hopefully we can get the pings there. So here we're going to start going again after Agatha to try to get some damage there to set up the second round of pings from Nakia. This should kill MLF here, and it does. Now this Apocalypse is full G17, much bigger than the other one we just fought. So he's probably not going to go down to Nakia's ult. But we're just trying to get Agatha weak so we can start pinging her down. All right, here comes the ult. So at this point now, even with the placement change difference here, Nakia is going to chain between Wong and Heartless versus Apocalypse and Agatha. We're still going to keep on trying to do the back and forth here. All right, we got Heartless almost down. All right, so we are going to... Apocalypse is going to go, and you can see right away he heals and puts Safeguard up. So it's already a much difficult fight. We have to go at Wong because he's haunted. All right, we got him down to the red. All right, and at this point, the only person we can go after is Apocalypse because everyone's in stealth. So we do the Black Panther ult, and we're going to try to bring him down quickly here because we know we need to before he ults and puts out trauma. If he does that, it's going to be pretty much over. And luckily, the Black Panther 1 million is the right move here. So we decided to go for Wong here, just get him out of the game. We don't want any extra things. Then we're going to try to finish Heartless. We don't want him to ult. All right, now the speed meter is going to go up, and we're going to go straight at Agatha. And even on a slight punch-up, we're able to still pull it off. All right, so for this variant, obviously, we want to show you why Underworld does not work. So we've got a punch down on Underworld going against a much smaller Apochold that we're going to be trying to deal with here. So we're going to start off like we would normally do it, where we're going to go straight into Heartless first, and you can see he resisted. That's why this is a little bit more of a problem. Let's try to get the blinds out. We do get some of those to stick. We have him stunned now, so that's always going to be a problem. We're going to get the minions out like we normally would do. Get the counters. See if we can get enough damage into them in order to be able to take them down. All right, so we should get some counters here, except Taskmaster's not going to counter. All right, we did kill her. All right, this may or may not kill Agatha, because she does have Safeguard, but we'll see if we can get through it. But all the resistance is tanking it a lot more. He's down. But as you can tell, it's a lot more of a slow play here. We have no way to get to Heartless, and if Heartless ults, it's pretty much over. And you can see really quickly, this fight starts going south pretty fast. Taskmaster hasn't had a chance to do pretty much anything. He's about almost done, and we're not getting any revives going on right now. Now they all have trauma, and as you can see, this starts going really south really fast. We just don't have enough damage on the board, even with the ult. Not enough. Try to do the rewind here. Still nothing. Then Apocalypse is just going to pick us apart. Here comes that. Now, the best case scenario here you can think about is that despite this, you know, we have much easier cleanup for our next person. So that's another way you could think about using them if you don't have a good-sized war dogs to kind of work through that, or you don't have a better option. Now, when you do this against others, now the other thing we can do too, and this is originated by Big DZ, so credit goes to him for coming up with this. He uses Underworld with Kang, and the way he approaches it is he does it by replacing Nobu with Kang. But in this case, we're actually going to replace Goblin with Kang, and we're going to do it against a much smaller version of this and see what we can do. Now, this works best when you know the taunt's going to be on MLF, so you just got to be kind of read the stats, make sure you understand who's going to get the taunt. And in this case, hypothetically, MLF should get the taunt. But what we're going to do with the special, since instead of doing our typical thing, we're going to put it on Apocalypse. And the reason why, even though he has immunity, is they're all probably going to resist it anyway. But he actually puts stun on Wong, so that keeps him in check for a little bit. All right, now you can see the taunt is on MLF, so we're going to go ahead and do the ult. All right, now we're just going to try to get some damage in there. We're going to go ahead and put this out. And then followed by the counters. And you notice here is that King will also get the counters. But even though all this is happening, we're going to get a lot of damage out. When they do hit Kang, he's actually going to be able to hit back as well. And as long as he's pretty powerful, he's going to hit pretty hard. And we want offense up so we can do some pretty good damage here. So and you can see there, like, we're getting good damage here. All the weird bugs from them staying on the wrong team here. All right, you can see they're really getting hurt here. We're putting some good damage from Kang, and those Kang counters are actually doing us a lot here. But despite all that, that's fine. You can tell he's going to keep hitting because of the counters. We're getting MLF pretty low, and what we're getting ready to do here is set up for Kang's ultimate. Here it comes. Even though we are stuck behind the taunt, we are already in a much better position to kind of do our follow-up attack if this does go south. But now Apoc is down, and Kang is pretty much just going to handle. Now come the minion taunts to give us more protection, and we're going to be able to pick apart Wong and take care of him. Now, on larger punch-ups, I am not really seeing the same success. We'll do one real quick here. And we'll give that a shot. Just so you guys can see a comparison for bigger team. So I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to come in with much bigger. It's a 1.4 million. So it's not a small boy whatsoever. Go ahead and put in our counter team and see if we can get the same job done. We're going to switch out Goblin with King. As soon as I can find Kang. Here we go. Here's Kang. So we're going to follow the same path here. Now, this is to give you guys a different perspective. Now, his Apocalypse is a lot bigger. You can see he's a little bit more bulky. He's G17, so there's no guarantee that he's going to... I'm pretty sure he's going to... Yep, he got the taunt. So see, already there's a big difference here. MLF did not get the taunt. So that's something you're just going to have to determine on if you choose to take this fight. So let's see what happens when we do it. Put the blinds in everybody. I can't do anything else but go after Apocalypse in this case. All right, I'm going to put the offense up like we did before. All right, we'll put the counters out so Kang can actually get some work done. All right, so they all went right at... Yeah, that's going to be everyone going into MLF, but she's not going to die because we didn't get any type of work on her prior. Although King does some pretty good damage, it's not enough. All right, and now we're going to go ahead and do the special as we did before. All right, we got her hurt now. But you can see the damage is starting to catch up to us a little bit on that size of a team. Nobu's about to go down. At this point, they're all kind of weak. We'll let Apocalypse do his thing. All right, so Wong's going to taunt, and now it starts to slow down a little bit. Now we're going to get the minions. This is why the minions second makes sense, is because now, as we're at this position, we want to give ourselves a little bit of cushion. All right, let's go ahead and do that. Try to get him weak, and at this point, we're just trying to get some kills, and we're trying to set up the next person to come into this. All right, let's try to go here. Does have a vulnerable, so let's go ahead and this. All right, we almost got him down, so there goes Apocalypse. All right, let's go after Heartless, so we can't do anything. So Heartless is down, and we got Wong down. So it's just MLF and Agatha at this point. And you can see there, like, it's getting a little bit trickier. But we're at least in a position where we could potentially use a Weapon X cleanup or a different type of counter. But we're doing some good damage to her. Let's see if we can't finish her off. We did stun her. That's big. And she got the minion, so we're going to try there. She's going to bleed out. You're gone. So even on that size, it can work, but you can see there's a lot of RNG to this. It's a very risky fight, so take at your own risk. But make sure you are watching what you're doing. But at least it's an option to like really chip away at the team than others. All right, guys. Well, hopefully that helps you guys out. Apocalypse with Darkhold is starting to already shake up the war meta. It's a dangerous team, so if you do see this, do not panic. I gave you a couple ideas. I think the typical Apox horseman counters are not going to work because they're going to also prevent the safeguard, and it's a little bit more vulnerable. So you got to look at bringing in teams. We tried Eternals. We tried all kinds of different things, and this didn't have very consistent success. We tried Dorm Tangle Web with minimal success, but it's very risky. It can go wrong. You have to get the perfect RNG for it to work. And then, as you saw with War Dogs, like War Dogs can be very efficient. If they're big enough and you're doing the right thing and you have the right investment in the characters, you can actually win the fight. Otherwise, you're going to be doing with either the Underworld hybrid with Kang or War Dogs to kind of set up a 2-tap and working with your alliance mates to bring this down. What you don't want to do is go in with all this other stuff and, try to, you put yourself in 3-tap, 4-tap situations and put your opponents behind your pace. The other thing to call out, which is very obvious, is Gamma does beat this really easily, and so does Darkhold. So when you guys are planning for offense or defense and you start seeing this pop up, adjust accordingly and make sure you guys have the right weapons in your pocket to be able to handle this. But like I said, Gamma is your best choice. Darkhold works, although you might lose a round of people or a few lives. And then obviously you have those other two variants if you want to use Darkhold on, if you're using Darkhold on defense and you want to keep Gamma for something else. Some people like to use Gamma for the mirror match, for example. Then, here's another option for you. You can try War Dogs or you can try Underworld with Kang. And again, shout out to Big DZ for discovering it. The only thing I tweaked is I actually kept Nobu and switched out Green Goblin, and in his version, he switched out Nobu. But once again, thank you guys for watching. If you guys liked the video, that you found this is helpful, please consider liking and subscribing, and I will see you for the next one.